Spotify is taking your data away in one really cool feature, but you have up until June 30th to back that data up. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. And as far as the feature goes, you can play with it for the next week and see if you can extract something useful out of it. But why is Spotify doing this? They're not doing this because they hate you. They're doing this because it allows them to add some more features. And a lot of these features have actually already been added. I'm going to link to this specific thing in the description, this article that they have describing the changes, but I'm going to show them to you now. So you may have noticed in Spotify for Artists over the past month or so that a lot has changed. It used to be, if I wanted to look at the saves for this song, I couldn't do it. Like, I could look at the lifetime saves or last 28-day saves, but I couldn't look at a graph of saves and playlist ads and streams per listener for the song. I could only look at it at the release level. And this kind of sucked if you were doing a waterfall strategy or an album, because you couldn't see, like, if you're promoting one song in that EP or album, what's coming from that and what's coming from the other songs. You have to kind of look at it at a lump to figure out what's going on. But now you can just click on any song. Doesn't matter if it's on an album. Doesn't matter if it's a single, and you can get the streams, listeners, streams per listener, saves, and playlist ads. Not only for that song, but you can chart it over time, and you can chart it over custom time periods as well. And this leads us to what we're losing. This is a link to that article that I just showed you. They're ending support for older data on song pages. So if you'd like to save all available streams data for the song, you have until June 30th. You can back it up. You can download a CSV. So basically, if you go into any song that's older that came out more than a certain amount of time ago, you're going to get this pop up. So what you want to do if you want to have access to data that is more than the last 2 years plus the year to date, so that would be before 2020, I believe. You can go down and just click this. So you go to the song page, download all your data as a CSV file. And that's going to download this timelines thing. And let's see what happens when I open it. There we go. We get a list going all the way back to 2018, just listing streams. And I could go down and we could look at it here. So you could back up all your stream data so that way you could throw it in your own software and graph it for historical records. Spotify is no longer going to explain it or list it out on their site like how we can do here. We can go and look at different periods. We can look at custom periods as well. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to get the saves and everything. Like if I click on saves here, we lose that CSV button. If I click on listeners, we lose that CSV button. So it's only historical stream data. But I think the trade-off is worth it. I don't know why they don't want to just support it for forever. I'm sure there's some technical reason, but I would much rather have this data than have access to historical data. But that's how you go and back it up. Now let's talk about the feature that we're losing. If we go to your profile level here, you might not have known this, but there's this compare to other artists thing. So let's say you're wondering, like you can see monthly listeners, right? And you can see followers for an artist, but you can't see streams for an artist. So let's say you wanted to compare yourself to another artist in terms of streams. I could go in here and I can type in Every Waking Moment, which is one of my music projects. And I can see the streams graphed against mine over time. I can also look at the listeners and the followers over time. So it's just a nice way to be able to compare the growth and the stream approximations between two different groups. And this is not only useful for kind of spying on your competition, so to speak, other bands, and kind of see their journey over time on Spotify. Because remember, the public page, you only get the last 28 days, like monthly listeners. You do get followers, but you don't know how those grew. So, one thing you could go and see is someone just like using bots or something, right? Like if they gain like 10,000 followers in a day or something, or you could go see if their monthly listeners are like up and down and up and down. They're probably relying on playlisting. So you can learn a little bit about their marketing and promotion strategies by using this tool. And this is the tool that's going away. So unfortunately, that's nothing we can control. Spotify says that it's going away because it had low usage. I use this thing relatively often, but it's going away. So what I would recommend is that in the next week, while we still have access to this tool, I would play around with it and just like look up some artists that you're curious about. If you haven't used this, take some screenshots, throw them in a Google Doc. So that way later when you're wondering about certain artists, you can go and look at their historical data. It's not a perfect solution by any means, but that way just think of go and get the data from like 30 artists and just take screenshots. I promise you, at some point, you'll find use for that data. There are a few other features that we've gained recently that I haven't talked about. Not only can you get all these stats on a song by song basis, but you can also filter them by country. So I could go look at, like, I don't know, Libya. I probably don't have any streams from Libya. What is a country that I actually have something? Let me just look at United States. United States, United States. And now we get this data for the United States, and I can even filter it over the last 12 months. And so you can look at country by country breakdowns for all of this data over different time periods, which super handy again. Now, they also added on this main page, I talked about active audience before. Check out this video here if you haven't seen that. An audience engagement, they added this followers thing, which is handy. You do get followers in here, but if you wanted to look at over time, you could only look at last 28 or since 2015, which is cool, but it's a little tight if you're trying to find something more recent. So going into this audience engagement page, doing followers and looking at last 12 months has been handy as well. So if you don't have your music on Spotify yet, you could use something like DistroKid. And DistroKid is a sponsor of this video, but they're also the music distributor that I've used for like my entire musical journey, as you can see with all my releases here. And the initial reason why I went to DistroKid and not a lot of the other competitors is I did the math on how much it would cost to distribute my music paying per release. Because some distributors will charge you like $10 a single, $30 an album, for example. DistroKid just charges you one fee to distribute unlimited music for a set number of artists for a year. So specifically, I recommend their Musician Plus plan for $39.99 a year. That gives you 2 artists, unlimited music. You can schedule releases and a few other additional perks. They do have a cheaper plan, but I would recommend you do the Musician Plus plan for $39.99. So as you can see, I've done a ton of releases with them. Aside from the price, the reason why I went to them is they support a lot of stores. And over the years, they've just increased this list. There's a crazy number of music DSPs that you can get your music onto. But they've also added features like plain lyrics. You can add synced lyrics so that the lyrics actually time with your song on Spotify, Apple Music, and Instagram. And they also have like tools like Visi and Hyperfollow and easy payment splits. So if you're collaborating with someone, it's super easy just to say, yeah, take some money, you get some percentage, you can go in here, you can add a collaborator, you can even add recoupments. So if let's say you're funding the marketing for a song, you can add a recoupment. So like, let's say you're doing a collab track with someone, you're splitting it 50-50, but you're putting up $500 for marketing and they're putting in nothing. You can add a $500 recoupment. So basically, until you hit $500, you make 100% of the money, which is how labels do it. So if you're a label too, that's also a really good feature. So yeah, thanks to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe to this channel because I upload tons of content like this all the time. And if you want to learn how to use Facebook ads to promote your music on Spotify, you can check out this playlist right here where I have a ton of videos going through that exactly. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye.